The Qtec ETF companion to NDXT equal weighted technology index, looking back to the October low 22, and a lot of similarities to the S&P 500. First is this megaphone pattern by DeMark. The low in October 2022 printed a Megaphone 7 count 6 and an end count 7 for Megaphone 7. So one megaphone pattern ended with the 7, and another one had one more to go with the 6. So the 1 is here where the 2 was at, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then off to the races. And the other one started here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that was the Megaphone by 7 end count 7. And that's a rare instance when that happens together, the 6 and the 7 for Megaphone 7, and that was an indication of the bottom, along with many others that we caught back here. Then another megaphone pattern started here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then off to the races again. So in the midst of this one, then another one started, and this one printed here from down here in the October low, and this 7 printed here from the October low, and then this 7 printed here from this low in April 23. And again, very similar to the S&P 500. Same thing happened down here. And the NDXT did print the combo and sequential sell setup complete 9 end count here, perfected, as now the floor for the Qtec is down here at 137.06. You can see the Qtec has been in a range for quite a while here, August 18th, barring a couple of whipsaws to the upside, one here, and then to the downside here. But barring those two, pretty much in a range. So it's just about to bust out of the range now. And similar to the S&P 500 is the relative retracement disqualified up to and by TDST right together. Price closed above both of them, and they're both in the qualified state now. So to get the confirmation bar, there must be an open higher than this close from the 10th, tick higher than this high from the high on the 10th, and then close above the close from the bar on the 10th, all happening on the 13th, Monday. And Qtec has qualified and confirmed the momentum up for 50% and 100% here, along with relative retracement qualified and confirmed up 1, so now possibly getting disqualified up to qualified and confirmed. And then the magnet levels at 157.31. And again, those two, magnet level and qualified and confirmed exhaustion up for 50%, are right together there. So tag that 50% qualified and confirmed exhaustion up, and there's strong possibility for more upside. And then things collapse completely on Monday and get a close below this disqualified, trend factor down 1, and it will become qualified and keep going and get under the disqualified momentum down for 50%. It will become qualified too. And the exhaustion level for 50% propulsion is at 142.13. And the Qtec ADX here has pretty much turned around and is pointed up slightly, so it had managed to stay above 20 and we're getting a pretty good updraft, and that's a strong indication of a change in direction to the upside. There might be some downside in the near future, but as long as this stays above 20, it still has a chance to turn around and put this thing going up. And the ATM trigger, fast trigger down, is going sideways, still has a red highlight from this big bar down on the 9th. But then the slow trigger up did manage to get above the overbought line, so now it's above there along with the fast trigger down. And there's still room technically to bust out of this range up here for QQE at 58 to get up near 70. And the supply lines were qualified on Friday's bar, both of these. So get them confirmed by opening higher than this close and closing higher than this close. We'll give the projection up here somewhere. This was a tall bar, so maybe right there around 158. And the Bollinger Band and upper Stark Band are right together there. I've raised the bar on the Bollinger Band. Instead of using lows, I'm using highs to base the bands on. So that's unlike the S&P where I'm using lows and really lowers the bar, but this is just sailing away so hard that I started using a higher bar here. So I'm using 20 moving average in the middle, and that's down here, and 2 standard deviations for upper and lower based on high. And the Stark bands are like the S&P 500. I've raised the bar there too, went from 1.5 ATR on the daily chart to the 2.0 ATR, so that raised that bar, and that will make it harder to get breaches. Like this one here was only 1, and with the 1.5 ATR we would have had like 3 here. And 26 bars back is the cloud baseline at 147.95. So if the lagging line heads down, it has support there at 147.95, and that coincides with the top of the cloud in current price, 148.37. So there should be pretty good support there. And under the top of the cloud is the 100 simple moving average and 50 simple moving average, so price is well above both of them. And the conversion line is just slightly under the baseline, which is going horizontal, so I believe momentum would carry that up over it, but there could be a whipsaw coming on the CPI report. If not, then this thing's really going to take off. We'll get the conversion line well above the baseline. Price will go parabolic more than it already has. And REI has sought and found neutral zero. DM1 is sailing above its overbought line, as is ROC. So we'll keep an eye on REI. Now what we're looking for is a pullback and brings it under the oversold negative 45 days or less, and then head back up over the oversold line, and hopefully the DM1 and ROC are still sailing away up here above their overbought lines. And a quick look at the S&P 500, same situation as Qtec. It's above the buy TDST, could confirm the qualification of the buy TDST, and this relative retracement qualified up 1, both the 50% and 100% propulsion momentum up. So that's like killing 3 birds with 1 stone, and price just barely made it above the cloud and closed above it. And D-Wave did print the D-Wave down wave A, and that happened back here on the 7th. So D-Wave is on the D-Wave down wave B and the D-Wave up wave 5. And price for the S&P 500 closed at 44.15.24, literally like 30 cents below where this ongoing supply line was for Friday, so it still remains ongoing. So that means it could open above where the supply line is, and we'll have to see what happens to see if that can get qualified from ongoing to qualified for the supply line, because it's questionable as the ongoing supply line is at 44.13.40 to start the day Monday, and price closed at 44.15.24. And this has not happened for a while, where an ATM pullback alert was printed to the down, which is on top of the price bar here on the 9th. And the last time that happened for a down indication on ATM pullback alert was back during the October 26, 2022. After hitting the bottom, there were a couple of pullback alerts up, and everything seemed to work pretty good here. This one had upside, this one had downside, this one had upside really good, and this one had a nice bump up but then came down. So this is an indication of a pullback for sure, as indicated by some of these other historical ones back here. And the Bollinger Band set to low, as I mentioned, is here at 44.31.39, and the Channel 3 high 44.49.45, and the Stark Band is at 44.79.73. And here's the economic report calendar for next week. Monday, a Fed speaker, and then the monthly U.S. federal budget, so budget schmudget. Tuesday is the CPI report, so here they have core CPI staying flat. Consumer price index should take a big dip down from the previous reading. And then the big one where Fed really pays attention to is the core CPI year over year. So that's expected to stay flat. If there's a beat on that and it's less than 4.1, we will be going parabolic. So if there's a higher indication, 4.2, anything, maybe even flat, if it stays like that, like they predict here at the Wall Street Journal, it's where MarketWatch gets its info on this, then there could be some downside. If it's really bad, if that skyrockets 4.3 to 5 even, then we'll be blasting to the downside through all of everything we just looked at